In today's fast-paced world, the idea of focusing on oneself is often misunderstood. Many people associate self-focus with selfishness, arrogance, or disregard for others. However, the reality is quite the opposite. Focusing on yourself is not an act of selfishness. It is an essential foundation for living a meaningful, impactful, and balanced life. Imagine trying to pour water from an empty cup. You simply can't give to others, not your family, your friends, your work, or your dreams, if you are depleted yourself. When you prioritize your well-being, growth, and inner peace, you are actually positioning yourself to contribute more meaningfully to the lives around you. Self-focus allows you to operate from a place of abundance rather than scarcity. Moreover, focusing on yourself helps you develop a deeper understanding of who you are. Without the constant distractions of external opinions and expectations, you begin to discover your true values, your passions, and your strengths. This self-awareness becomes the blueprint for every major decision you make. Whether it's about your career, your relationships, or your personal goals. When you neglect yourself, resentment often builds. You may begin to feel drained, unnoticed, or even trapped by obligations that don't align with your authentic self. On the other hand, when you prioritize your mental, emotional, and physical well-being, you are able to show up fully with love, patience, and energy for the people and causes that matter to you. Self-focus also teaches you how to set healthy boundaries. It allows you to say no to things that do not serve your highest good without guilt or fear. It empowers you to protect your time, your energy, and your peace, which are some of your most valuable assets. In reality, focusing on yourself is the first and most critical step toward building a life that feels fulfilling, purposeful, and true. Without this foundation, everything else, success, relationships, happiness, stands on shaky ground. But when you put yourself at the center of your own life, you create a strong, stable base from which everything else can grow, thrive, and eventually fall into place. Down the search for direction and purpose, many of us instinctively turn outward. We seek advice from friends. We scroll through social media looking for inspiration. We listen to the loudest voices telling us what success, happiness, or fulfillment should look like. But the truth is, the more we lean on external noise for answers, the more disconnected we become from our own truth. Real clarity, the kind that shapes a meaningful life, does not come from outside sources. It is born from within. When you are constantly bombarded with external opinions, it becomes incredibly difficult to hear your own voice. The opinions of others, the endless comparisons, and the societal expectations start to cloud your judgment. Over time, you might find yourself chasing goals that were never yours to begin with, living a life that looks good on the outside but feels hollow on the inside. Clarity, on the other hand, emerges when you create space for inner reflection. It requires silence. It demands stillness. It comes from asking yourself deep, honest questions. What do I truly want? What brings me alive? What feels meaningful to me? And then listening patiently for the answers to surface. Not rushing, not forcing, but allowing them to unfold naturally. The process of gaining inner clarity is not always comfortable. It often requires unlearning what the world has taught you. It means letting go of the need to please everyone. It means being brave enough to admit when something that once seemed appealing no longer fits who you are becoming. It requires trust that your inner wisdom is enough, even when it contradicts what everyone else is doing. When you cultivate clarity from within, you become less reactive to external chaos. You no longer need constant reassurance or validation because your sense of direction is rooted in something deeper than trends, opinions, or fear. Decisions become easier. Priorities become sharper. Your actions align more closely with your values and your authentic desire. In a noisy world, clarity is a rare and powerful gift, but it is one that only you can give yourself. And it starts by tuning out the noise around you and tuning into the quiet truth already waiting inside. Personal growth, the journey of becoming the best, truest version of yourself, does not happen by accident. It doesn't come simply with age, titles, or external achievement. Growth begins the moment you take full responsibility for your life, your choices, your habits, your mindset, and your outcomes. It's tempting to blame others when things don't go the way we want. We blame the job market for a career we dislike, our upbringing for our insecurities, or a partner for our unhappiness. While external circumstances can absolutely influence our experiences, true empowerment comes when we recognize that, regardless of what happens around us, we are responsible for how we respond, how we grow, and what we build from. Taking personal responsibility means refusing to see yourself as a victim of life. It means acknowledging that while you may not control every event that happens to you, you absolutely control your attitude, your actions, and your future path. It is understanding that complaining about problems without taking action changes nothing. Excuses and blame might offer temporary comfort, but they steal long-term progress. When you accept responsibility, you reclaim your power. You stop waiting for someone else to save you, to fix things, or to make decisions for you. You become the driver of your own life rather than a passive passenger tossed by circumstance. Every decision, whether it's to invest in your education, to heal from past wounds, to cultivate better habits, or to leave toxic environments, becomes an intentional step forward. Personal responsibility also brings maturity. You stop looking for easy routes or shortcuts and instead embrace the hard, honest work that real growth demands. You understand that setbacks are not permanent defeats, but opportunities for learning. Failures are no longer reasons to quit, but invitations to evolve. Every challenge becomes a mirror, reflecting not only where you are now, but also pointing toward where you still have room to grow. Ultimately, growth is an inside-out process, and it begins with the powerful, humbling act of saying, my life is my responsibility. It's not about perfection. It's not about blaming yourself for every hardship. It's about recognizing that your future is shaped not by what happens to you, but by how you choose to rise again and again, stronger and wiser each time. One of the most powerful truths in life is this: whatever you consistently focus on will expand and shape your reality. Your attention is like sunlight to a plant. Wherever you direct it, growth follows. If you consistently place your focus on fear, negativity, and doubt, you will find more of these emotions dominating your life. But if you deliberately focus on possibilities, growth, gratitude, and personal development, your life will naturally move in that direction. Every day, countless distractions compete for your attention. Social media, gossip, negative news cycles, and the drama of daily life can easily pull you into a reactive state where your energy is scattered and depleted. Over time, if you aren't intentional about where your attention goes, you may find yourself exhausted, stressed, and moving further away from your true goals without even realizing it. This is why conscious focus is so crucial. You must guard your attention as one of your most precious resources, because it is. What you think about, you start to feel. What you feel, you start to act on. What you act on, you eventually become. It's a chain reaction that always begins with attention. By consistently directing your focus toward your personal growth, your goals, your inner peace, and your dreams, you fuel those parts of your life with energy. You begin to notice opportunities you once overlooked. You find solutions where before you only saw obstacles. You cultivate resilience because your mind is anchored to progress, not to fear. It's important to realize that focusing doesn't just mean thinking positively. It also means taking mindful, deliberate actions that align with your attention. If your focus is on building better health, your daily actions should support that: eating nourishing food, moving your body, and prioritizing rest. If your focus is on mastering a skill, it should reflect in your daily practice, learning, and dedication. At the same time, learning to withdraw your attention from things that drain you is equally important. Not every battle deserves your energy. Not every opinion needs your response. By choosing where your attention goes, you are actively shaping the direction and quality of your life. Energy flows where attention goes. If you want to change your life, you must first change what you consistently focus on. Awareness is the beginning. Deliberate focus is the transformation. Not at the core of every meaningful transformation lies one critical force: self-love. How you perceive and value yourself establishes the standard you set for every aspect of your life. From relationships and career choices to the way you care for your health and the dreams you dare to pursue. Self-love is not just about feeling good about yourself. It's about recognizing your inherent worth and refusing to settle for anything that diminishes it. When you cultivate genuine self-love, you naturally begin to raise your standards. You start to expect more. not out of entitlement, but out of a deep understanding that you deserve respect, kindness, growth, and fulfillment. You stop tolerating relationships that are toxic, jobs that drain your spirit, and environments that stunt your growth. You begin to prioritize what nurtures you rather than what simply fills space. Without self-love, it's easy to fall into cycles of accepting less than you deserve. You might stay in situations that harm you simply because you believe that's the best you can get. You might silence your dreams because deep down, you doubt your worthiness to achieve them. You might constantly seek approval from others, abandoning your own needs in the process. Low self-worth leads to low standards, and low standards create a life that feels heavy, unfulfilling, and disconnected from your true potential. Self-love shifts this entire paradigm. When you love and respect yourself, you become less concerned with external validation. You no longer beg for crumbs of attention or compromise your values just to belong. Instead, you become a magnet for experiences, opportunities, and people that reflect the love you have cultivated within yourself. This is not to say that self-love makes life perfect or easy. Challenges will still arise. There will still be moments of doubt and hardship. But the difference is that self-love arms you with resilience. It gives you the courage to walk away from anything that dishonors your worth. It pushes you to demand better, not just from others, but from yourself. To strive for excellence, to protect your peace, and to pursue the life you deserve. Self-love also teaches you patience. You stop rushing into decisions out of desperation. You learn to trust that the right relationships, opportunities, and breakthroughs will come in time, and that you are worthy of them. You learn that loneliness is not a punishment, but sometimes a sacred space to grow and heal until the right doors open. Ultimately, self-love is the silent architect of your life. It influences every boundary you set, every goal you chase, every dream you dare to envision. When you build a life rooted in self-love, you are no longer at the mercy of the world's opinions or circumstances. You are led by a deep, unshakable knowing that you are enough and that you deserve nothing less than a life that honors that truth. That in today's hyper-connected world, it's easier than ever to fall into the trap of comparison. With just a few taps on a screen, we can glimpse into the curated lives of others, their successes, their milestones, their highlight reels. And before we even realize it, we begin measuring our lives against standards that were never meant for us. The result is often feelings of inadequacy, envy, self-doubt, and a deep sense of discontent. Comparison is a silent thief. It doesn't just steal your happiness. It clouds your vision, distracts you from your purpose, and makes you forget the beauty of your own journey. It convinces you that you are behind, that you are not good enough, that somehow you are lacking, even when you are exactly where you are meant to be. What makes comparison so destructive is that it is inherently unfair. You are measuring your behind the scenes, your struggles, doubts, fears, and setbacks against someone else's carefully chosen highlights. You see their victories without seeing the sleepless nights, the failures, the sacrifices, and the personal battles they had to fight to get there. Comparison blinds you to the truth that every journey is different and that success and fulfillment have no fixed timeline or template. When you focus on others, you lose precious energy that could be invested in your own growth. You start setting goals based not on what lights you up, but on what you think you should achieve based on someone else's path. You abandon your authentic desires and talents to chase a life that may look good from the outside, but feels hollow on the inside. The antidote to comparison is gratitude and self-focus. When you appreciate where you are, who you are, and how far you've come, the need to measure up to others begins to fade. You realize that your worth is not determined by external milestones, but by the courage, resilience, and authenticity you bring to your own life. You understand that success is deeply personal. It is about living in alignment with your values, not about winning an invisible race. Choosing to stop comparing yourself to others is a radical act of self-liberation. It means committing to your own journey, embracing your own pace, and honoring your own growth. It means celebrating your progress, no matter how small, and trusting that your path, with all its twists and turns, is unfolding exactly as it should. Comparison may always try to creep in, but with awareness and intentionality, you can choose to turn inward. You can choose to focus not on who is ahead or behind, but on how you can become the best version of yourself. And in doing so, you reclaim your joy, a joy that is rooted not in competition, but in authenticity, purpose, and true self-acceptance. One of the most profound yet simple laws of life is the principle that you attract what you embody. This concept is rooted in the idea that the energy, mindset, and emotions you project out into the world are the same things that will come back to you. In other words, what you focus on, what you believe, and how you carry yourself determines the people, opportunities, and experiences that show up in your life. Think about it for a moment. If you constantly project negativity, fear, and doubt, that energy will inevitably attract similar situations and people. You may find yourself stuck in toxic relationships, surrounded by people who drain you, or facing obstacles that reinforce your beliefs that life is hard. On the other hand, when you embody positivity, self-assurance, and openness, you are more likely to attract experiences and people that reflect that same energy. Opportunities arise that align with your ambitions, and you begin to draw in relationships that nurture and uplift you. Attraction goes beyond the simple law of attraction. It is rooted in the energy you carry in every interaction, every thought, and every act. It's not about faking confidence or pretending to be something you're not, but rather about aligning yourself with the qualities you wish to see more of in your life. If you desire love and connection, you must first cultivate love and connection within yourself. If you want success and abundance, you must first embody the mindset of abundance, believing that there is enough for you and for everyone else. This idea also extends to how you view the world. If you approach life with a scarcity mindset, constantly worried that there is not enough to go around, whether it's money, opportunities, or love, you begin to see the world as a place of competition and limitation. But when you shift to an abundance mindset, focusing on possibilities, collaboration, and growth, you begin to recognize that opportunities are limitless and that there's plenty of success to go around. Your actions are also a reflection of the energy you embody. If you are someone who embodies discipline, focus, and hard work, the opportunities you attract will reflect that. If you embody kindness, generosity, and compassion, you will find yourself surrounded by people who share those same values and who are eager to support and uplift you. If you project a sense of worthiness, you'll attract people and situations that honor your worth. However, embodying what you desire requires consistent effort and self-awareness. It's about more than just wishing for good things to come to you. It's about taking intentional action that aligns with your goals and values. It's about showing up every day with the energy and mindset of the person you want to become, rather than waiting for external circumstances to change before you make the shift internally. This process is gradual but profound. The more you embody the qualities you desire, whether it's confidence, patience, gratitude, or resilience, the more these qualities will be reflected back to you in your life. You become a magnet for the experiences, people, and circumstances that align with your highest self. In essence, you don't have to chase after what you want. By embodying the energy, mindset, and values of the life you want to live, you begin to effortlessly attract the very things you seek. We often overestimate the impact of a single dramatic change and underestimate the power of small, consistent actions. Massive transformation does not happen overnight. It is the result of small daily habits compounded over time. Whether we are working on our personal growth, health, relationships, or career, it's the little decisions we make every single day that shape our future. It's easy to get caught up in the idea of making big, bold moves to create change. We think that in order to truly transform our lives, we need to take giant leaps, change careers abruptly, move to a new city, overhaul our entire lifestyle. While such drastic shifts can indeed bring change, real power lies in the daily, often unnoticed choices that we make on a consistent basis. The habits we practice day in and day out, even when we don't feel like it, are the things that ultimately determine the trajectory of our lives. For example, when it comes to health, it's not about a single intense workout or a crash diet. It's about the small, consistent choices you make every day. Drinking enough water, eating nourishing foods, getting enough rest, and moving your body. Over time, these small decisions compound, and what seem like insignificant actions suddenly lead to improved energy, strength, and overall well-being. The transformation doesn't happen because of one big effort, but because of the steady rhythm of consistent actions. The same principle applies to personal development. If you want to build new skills or achieve a particular goal, the daily steps you take, however small they seem, are the key to success. Whether it's reading for 15 minutes a day, practicing mindfulness journaling, or working on a project, it's the commitment to these small habits that adds up over time to create massive progress. Most significant achievements are simply the result of consistent disciplined effort over an extended period. On the other hand, when we focus only on big monumental changes, we can quickly become overwhelmed. Trying to overhaul every aspect of our lives at once often leads to burnout, frustration, and eventual stagnation. The secret to sustainable transformation is to break down large goals into manageable daily actions, which over time lead to profound results. Even more powerful is the idea of the compound effect. Small habits performed daily not only lead to big results, but also multiply. For instance, reading 10 pages of a book every day might seem insignificant, but by the end of the year, you'll have read several books and accumulated a wealth of knowledge. Similarly, writing a single page each day might not seem like much, but at the end of a year, that's 365 pages. A complete manuscript, an entire story, or a deeply insightful journal. The beauty of small habits is that they are sustainable. They don't require drastic energy or effort, which makes them easier to maintain. Consistency becomes the key, not perfection. It's about showing up every day, even when motivation is low or obstacles arise. The more we make small habits a non-negotiable part of our routine, the more ingrained they become in our lives, leading to exponential growth and long-term results. By focusing on small incremental changes and being patient with the process, we build a foundation for true transformation. And in the long run, these small daily habits can create a life that feels richer, more intentional, and aligned with our deepest desires. In a world that celebrates instant gratification, it's easy to forget the power of patience. We are constantly told that the fastest way is the best way, whether it's achieving success, reaching a goal, or finding happiness. Yet true, sustainable success is rarely built overnight. It's a slow, often winding journey that requires consistent effort, resilience, and above all, patience. Patience doesn't mean passively waiting for success to come to you. Rather, it is about trusting the process, showing up every day, and staying committed to your goals even when immediate results are not apparent. It is a mindset that acknowledges that the best things in life take time to unfold. When you practice patience, you give yourself permission to grow at your own pace without the pressure to meet artificial timelines or external expectations. One of the biggest challenges we face when it comes to patience is our desire to see immediate results. In the age of social media, we are constantly exposed to others' successes, their achievements, milestones, and overnight transformations. But what we often don't see is the years of hard work, setbacks, and quiet growth that led to these moments. Patience is about understanding that you are in your own journey, one that is unique and cannot be compared to someone else's path. What may have taken others months or years to build will take you time as well, and that is perfectly okay. Patience allows you to approach your goals with a long-term vision. It frees you from the stress of rushing to the finish line, and instead helps you focus on the steps you can take today, knowing that those small actions will accumulate into big results over time. By letting go of the need for instant gratification, you are able to focus on the quality of your efforts, not just the speed at which you complete them. Moreover, patience teaches resilience. On the journey to success, setbacks and obstacles are inevitable. Whether it's a business idea that fails, a personal project that doesn't go as planned, or a relationship that faces challenges, patience allows you to weather these storms without giving up or losing sight of the bigger picture. It helps you understand that failure is not the end, but part of the growth process. It is through those setbacks that you learn, adapt, and grow stronger. When you cultivate patience, you can look at difficulties with a sense of curiosity rather than frustration. You begin to see them not as barriers, but as opportunities for refinement. Patience also nurtures a sense of inner peace. It allows you to trust that the right things will come to you at the right time. Rather than forcing outcomes or rushing through experiences, you learn to savor the present moment. You understand that life's most beautiful moments often occur when we let go of our attachment to time and simply allow ourselves to be where we are, fully engaged in the process, not just the result. Furthermore, the kind of success that is built with patience is lasting and fulfilling. When we rush, we often overlook important lessons and experiences that are critical to our personal development. Success that is achieved too quickly or without proper effort often lacks substance. In contrast, the success that comes from patience is rooted in deep understanding, hard-earned wisdom, and genuine growth. It is success that you can maintain because it was built on a solid foundation of experience and learning. Finally, patience teaches you to honor your own rhythm. You are not in a race with anyone else. Your timeline is unique to you, and respecting that timeline leads to greater satisfaction and a more meaningful life. When you embrace patience, you let go of the pressure to meet arbitrary deadlines set by society or others, and allow your own pace to be enough. That one of the greatest illusions in life is that we are bound by limitations. We often believe that there are external factors, like our environment, our upbringing, our circumstances, or even our talents, that define how far we can go. We tell ourselves that certain goals are impossible, certain dreams are out of reach, or certain paths are too difficult to follow. But in reality, the only limits that exist are the ones we place on ourselves. The mind is an incredibly powerful tool, and it can either be a prison or a catalyst for transformation. If you constantly tell yourself that you cannot do something, that it's too hard, or that you're not good enough, you are essentially building walls around your own potential. These self-imposed limits are often rooted in fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, or fear of the unknown. We become so attached to the idea of safety and certainty that we prevent ourselves from stepping into the fullness of our potential. But when you begin to challenge these limits, when you question the beliefs and assumptions that you have about what you can and cannot do, you open up an entirely new realm of possibility. You realize that most of the barriers you face are not as insurmountable as they once seemed. They are often simply mental constructs, habits of thinking that have been reinforced over time but can be unlearned. For example, many of us limit ourselves based on past experiences. If we failed at something once, we might convince ourselves that we will never succeed in that area again. But failure is not a reflection of your worth or potential. It is simply feedback. Every successful person has experienced failure. They have failed, learned, adapted, and tried again. What sets them apart is not a lack of fear or failure, but their ability to keep moving forward in spite of those challenges. Additionally, many of our self-imposed limits stem from societal pressures or the expectations of others. From a young age, we are often told what we should or shouldn't do, what's realistic or what's practical. While advice and guidance are valuable, it's important to recognize that others' limitations are not yours. The world often tries to define success in narrow, predefined terms, but your version of success may look completely different. When you free yourself from the confines of societal expectations, you create space for your own vision, and you allow yourself to pursue what truly excites and fulfills you. Another major limit many people place on themselves is the belief that they must have everything figured out before they take action. We wait for the perfect time, the right circumstances, or the complete plan before making a move. But the truth is, no moment is ever truly perfect. The best way to break free from self-imposed limits is to take imperfect action. It's through action that you learn, adapt, and grow. Every step forward, even if it feels small, chips away at the limits you've created and expands your possibilities. The beauty of recognizing that your limits are self-imposed is that you also have the power to remove them. It requires awareness, courage, and the willingness to step outside of your comfort zone. Every time you push through a limit, you create a new level of freedom and possibility for yourself. You redefine what you are capable of, and you begin to see challenges as opportunities to grow rather than as obstacles to your success. The truth is that you are capable of far more than you may realize. Your potential is vast, and the only thing standing in the way is the belief that you are not enough or that something is too difficult. As soon as you stop allowing those beliefs to dictate your actions, you unlock a whole new world of opportunities and experiences. You can achieve far more than you ever imagined, but it all starts with dismantling the limits you've placed on yourself As we've explored, the path to personal growth, success, and fulfillment is not defined by the world around us, but by the choices we make each day. The power to shape your life lies within you, in how you direct your focus, the habits you cultivate, and the energy you embody. When you choose to prioritize your own growth, set higher standards for yourself, and break free from self-imposed limits, you unlock a life full of endless possibilities. Remember, the journey is not about perfection, but about progress. The small steps you take, the mindset you nurture, and the courage you summon each day will lead you toward the life you've always desired. Trust the process, remain patient with yourself, and embrace the power of your own potential. So focus on yourself, embrace your growth, and watch as everything else starts to fall into place, because the life you want is already within your reach. You just have to believe it, embody it, and go after it. The rest will follow.